As a Pan-African scholar, I have been wondering over 5 years now, or even more than 5 years now, about things that my mind refuses to let me rest about. And I have decided to speak about these things. What is this? It is a story that has been hidden for years. The truth that no one wants to talk about. The reality that has been denied for far too long. But one thing that I want us to know is that you cannot deny a reality by giving it a dirty name. What is this truth or reality that I am talking about? It is the truth or the reality of the injustice that was or has been done to the African continent and to Africans, both home and in the diaspora. No one talks about this. I can say on authority that Africa has been dealt with unjustly by history. And it's unfortunate that those who wrote the history books wrote it to favor themselves. But Africa, I say, is a wounded continent. And Africans everywhere are wounded, but no one wants to talk about. I therefore rise in a series to talk about Africa, the wounded continent, and encourage Africans that it is time to take your destiny into your hands. It is time to rise again. It is time to heal. The continent needs healing. All Africans, black people everywhere need healing. But no one is talking about this. I have therefore created a model called the African Restorative Psycho-Spiritual Model to help us reflect on our lives as Africans, reflect on our collective history as Africans, and take the move towards our collective history, collective healing as Africans. This is very important because the slave trade, colonialism, racism, and the numerous disruptions that has happened to Africa has left all of us traumatized. But no one, again, is talking about this. For how long can we keep quiet? For how long can we be silent about all this that happened to us as Africans? I arise to tell the story of this old woman, Africa, who, sitting quietly in her backyard, was invaded by an external force. And this external force imposed everything they have on this old woman. And at the end of the day, they condemned everything the old woman has and rendered them fetish. They were able not to deceive the old woman and all her children to look down on themselves. They were able to psychologically weaken the old woman and her descendants to see themselves as inferior. And that has gone on and on and on and on. But now we arise to say that this is not correct. Now we want to rewrite our history. We want to say that, look, we represent the best. And until the lion learns to write its own history, the story of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. So Africans, we arise to tell our history. And the history I want to tell is the history of the colonization of the mind, African mind, have captured in the African restorative psycho spiritual model. And we'll talk more about that. Thank you for listening to me. I am Dr. Eric, a Pan-African scholar, and I'll bring you more about the model. Thank you.